Hey everybody, this is Russ, and today's Babble Bite is something that I have been meaning to do for a while. Still a little bit high on the adrenaline from Runway's Gen 48 film race, and one of the features that I used a lot during that last competition was the new first last feature. At least it seemed new at the time. I'd been planning to do this for a while, and now everything that I was going to say is basically obsolete because they've upgraded the feature, and it's pretty incredible. So we're going to get into that right now. Okay, and here, as you can see on the video generation page, I have a still that I made some time ago. I want to use it as the last frame. We're going to say that this is where we want it to stop. That's my thinking anyway. We'll see what the computer does. I have it set for 5 seconds, and we'll just say, giant robot in a field, walks towards camera. And then we hit generate, and we'll see what we get. I used this a ton during the last Gen 48. It's just so far, I think, one of the best, most sophisticated ways to control movement in Runway, or at least it was until very recently as they've upgraded this feature. But let's see how this turned out. It's pretty good. I mean, he's walking. It's a nice walk cycle. It's not really him coming up and stopping as though it's the last frame. But still, it's a nice way to control the motion, and it's looking pretty good. However, now there's a whole new ball game, and let's check that out. So as before, we go to generative video, and now I got to switch to turbo, as you can see. And now you see the little slider there. Now that's the new feature. That's kind of where this gets interesting. You're basically able to add keyframes. I've set it to 5 seconds. And it's a robot character, a robot detective. We bring him in. He's kind of hanging out down the street, and the idea is that will be our beginning, and then we'll add a keyframe at the end where he's a little closer. There'll be a little weirdness with, I set it to 5 seconds, and I put my keyframe on the 5th second, and yet it goes back to 10 seconds. We'll see how that evolves, but now we have our beginning and our end. Let's just see what we get. What's kind of wacky is for being a new feature, it seems to be rendering really fast. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty decent looking. Now, the weird thing is obviously they've given him a strange robot detective lunchbox, which was not there before. So that's a bit of a glitch. But the other thing is I did this completely without any sort of a text prompt. It was literally just the 2 keyframes. So I'm thinking maybe it would be worthwhile to try it with a little bit of help from the text prompt. So basically have the same setup, just a prompt, a suave robot detective, walks down the street towards camera, and this time we'll see if maybe that helps us lose the robot lunch pail. That would be a bonus. Okay, and let's take a look. All right, no lunchbox. And he's walking right up into that spot. That looks pretty great. I can imagine using this a lot. Now, kind of in those last few seconds, suddenly this motion is introduced at the end where he's like almost walking backwards again. And that's a little odd. But again, that sort of thing is not wholly unexpected using these tools. And then I thought, well, now let's get really cheeky and see what it would look like if we add an additional keyframe, like something in the middle. So I came up with a different scenario for that. And now this is more of a disaster movie riff. And once again, we have our people in the distance. And the idea is to have them run forward and out of frame. So I'm adding an additional keyframe. They're closer to the camera, like they're running towards camera. That's the second keyframe. And then the idea is the third keyframe would be them gone. They've cleared frame. I don't know if the computer's going to go for this, but we'll see. But this time adding a little text prompt. Frightened couple runs away from an exploding building as fast as they can, while dust blows up behind them. And I'm just going to go with the 10 seconds because that's what it seems to want to do. And it's thinking and thinking. Okay, again, a very zippy render. And now, almost there. Okay, All right, so they're in the distance and they're running. They're running towards camera. Okay, great. Don't run out of frame. And suddenly are joined by a third person who bursts out of the ground and starts dancing. Definitely not what I had in mind, but I don't hate it. So again, it's new. I'm sure that this is going to get smoother as time goes on, but just another additional level of control that you can use. And I hope you'll find this interesting. Experiment with it. We'd love to see what anybody comes up with, and hopefully it'll be some cool stuff. That's it. I'm Russ. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Signals clear, tune in here for the tech frontier.
Robots whisper in